Okay, so today we're going to begin our final project. It's the podcast. So you guys are going to individually create your own podcast and turn that in. So the way you're going to do this is going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little different um, because of the situation that we're in. So um, initially, we would listen to a few podcasts. We're going to skip that step and kind of move right into actually making the podcast. So what you are going to do is after we're not listening to podcasts. We're not going to be in groups, but you're going to do an interview style podcast. Now, I'm going to be really lenient on this. If you have somebody that can help you with this, that's perfectly fine. If you don't, then you're going to pretend to be multiple people. And that's okay. If you want to do different voices and have fun with it, that's fine. If you don't, then that's okay as well. But we're just going to have to kind of get through it. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out what type of podcast you are going to do. All right. So some examples, you can be a sports themed podcast where you are interviewing famous sports stars. You can be a podcast about animal conservation, where you're talking to experts about saving animals. You can be a botanist, talking about plants. You can talk about outer space, just anything you want to. Now, what you're going to do is you are going to be an interviewer for this podcast, and you're going to have two experts that come onto your podcast and talk about your subject. So if it's space, you're going to maybe have an astronaut and an astronomer, famous people that come on and talk, but you're going to have two of them. All right, so the way the podcast is going to be organized, you're going to do all this on voice. If you want to just do a recording, you can do that. You can have a fake screen up there or whatever. I don't care. I'm going to talk about the recording actually tomorrow. So you're not even going to start recording today. What I want you to do is I want you to start planning. All right. So the way this is going to go is you're going to have different segments. All right. You're going to have two different experts that are going to come on your show. So you're going to have an introduction. This should be about 10 to 15 seconds long. Just kind of, hey, this is a podcast. Welcome. This is who we have on the show today. And then you're going to go right into your first segment. Now, each segment needs to be a minute and a half long. So you're going to talk to your first expert and interview your first expert here for a minute and a half. All right. Your circle is going to look a little different since we're not doing groups. But this first segment here is a minute and a half after the introduction. Then after that, you're going to do a 15-second commercial. Have fun with those. Whatever kind of commercial you want to do. Going to break up between these segments, but you're going to have a commercial. Then you're going to have your second segment with your second expert, and that's going to be a minute and a half. Then you're going to have another commercial that's 15 seconds, and then you are going to do your wrap-up. So we're kind of eliminating this part of the circle right here. You're not having a third segment, so you don't need a third commercial. All right? So what you need to do for today is I want you to do this podcast planning circle. I want you to make sure that you know what type of podcast you're doing, what the subject is. I want you to have what two experts and what segments they're going to go. And I want you to have your ideas hammered out for your commercials here. And then you have an introduction and you have a wrap up. All right. So you're going to actually make this circle. You can do this on paper and take a picture of it if you want, or you can do it on the computer and submit that through Paint or whatever you want to on your iPad. But first and foremost today, I want this planning circle. I want your subject for your podcast, introduction, first segment, and who's going, what's your first commercial, second segment, and who is the expert, your second commercial, and then your wrap up. All right. If you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, do this podcast planning circle today, get it turned in, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow about the recording aspect.